It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show. Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 544. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hello.
Grace.
Hello.
Kodra.
Hi.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hello.
Okay, have fun. Anyway, we have a bunch of topics. I'm not even going to begin to explain that.
I don't understand that.
So we were doing we've done a bunch of Destiny Rising, and the other night, Grace and I were running content together, and Spouse, I guess, was going off to some other event, and Grace said, "Okay, have fun," but it happened to coincide with me not paying attention to the fact that the party had moved on. And I thought she was
exquisite timing.
I thought they were just being extremely flippant. And then I realized, all of a sudden, oh no, saying bye to Spouse, but now it's just become a running gag. So
great. I love it. That's genuinely, I mean, the power move of just starting the podcast and just being like, all right, have fun, and logging off would have been exquisite.
Anyway, what is Time Flies? It doesn't happen when you're having fun.
So I forget where I heard about Time Flies. I think it showed up in my on my social feed somewhere. Possibly somebody I know made it. If you are listening to the show, please, and hear me talking about your game, please let me know. But you're a fly, and you're a fly, and you're trying to cross everything off of your bucket list before you die because you're a fly and you have a lifespan measured. I mean, I guess you're like a I don't know, some kind of mayfly or something, but you've got a lifespan that's measured in minutes. And you're trying to get your bucket list done, and it's got Untitled Goose Game energy in a good way. It's a bunch of weird little abstractly described things for you to pull off. Some of which are dying in creative ways. Some of which are solving little puzzles. It's got this turbo minimalist art style.
Black and white pixel art.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Black and white.
Say black and white. I did not mention any shades of gray.
Yeah, that's what you're getting into. It's honestly more fun than I would have expected, and it's just a fun. If you want something that's fun and not overly challenging, it definitely hits the mark for me. It's exactly charming enough and exactly silly enough, and
doesn't overstay its welcome.
It doesn't overstay its welcome. I don't feel the urge to burn through the levels, but I've also been having fun just doing the ones I've gotten to. I thought it was just one level, but then it opens up the second one, and the second one's got its own thing where you're stuck under a cup, and you have to figure out how to get out from there first.
I mean, real world problems for a fly.
Yeah, it's as you have to figure out what real life thing it's trying to get you to do that it's describing in vague fly terms. It's a charming tiny game. I enjoyed it.
Okay, so I want some explanation of this next one, mostly because it's become this overnight sensation, it feels like. Tell me good things about Ball X Pit.
Yeah, there's lots of good things about Ball Pit. It is My current replacement for Peglin,
Oh, that's a strong start.
yeah. If you liked Peglin but you wish it was more breakout,
You had my attention before, now you, or whatever that line is.
and it's excellent. It's got all of the like silliness of collecting different balls to shoot at things, with bonus like upgrading and evolving the balls, but combining them in different ways. So you can level them up, you can straight up combine them, but also some of them when you combine them, you can evolve them into a totally different ball that does totally different things. Um, and so there's just a ton of balls and combinations. There's a ton of characters. I think there's at least 10 or 12. I've only unlocked maybe half a dozen so far. And the thing that has impressed me about that is that they are all different. They all play very differently, which I wasn't optimistic about in a game that is just essentially you are shooting balls up a field at things.
I've seen two characters. Like the starting character is just a dude who shoots balls at things.
Mhm.
But I've also seen the big paddle character.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that one yet. But I've gotten there's a character who like there's one that's a pair of characters, so it's like a couple and each of their balls does 50% damage, but each of them shoots a ball at the same time. So you have like fun things to do with that.
I didn't play
Um,
Peglin. I know the possibilities in multi-ball.
yeah. There's one that's really fun that it shoots the ball. It's like an assassin. It shoots the balls from the back of the field to the front. There's one where like normally you have like the special balls, but you also have what's called baby balls that are just kind of neutral that do a little bit of damage and fill up the field. Um, there's there's one that just doesn't have any baby balls but will shoot extra special balls. And then there's one that shoots tons of baby balls and just and different power-ups that you get that can play off of those things. It's just like it's extremely charming and silly. The art I really like. It feels almost like sort of paper cutouts, but with a little
That's
bit
fun.
more depth. Like it's very distinctive and I really like it. I dig it. So you have this great gameplay, but also it has a base building component. And as you build your little town, you put down some wheat fields, but you can't just harvest those wheat fields. You have to, as you collect characters, in between levels, you shoot the characters like little balls and they ping pong around your town and will collect your wheat or your wood or stone or whatever it is. So even when you're not playing the active part of the game, even just the upgrade and base building part, you're still shooting balls at things and bouncing them around. And it's really fun. And initially I was slightly annoyed by this, that basically every time you finish a round of gameplay, you can go back to the town and ping pong your little guys around, and you should do this to get your upgrades. Initially, I was annoyed because it kept me from just going straight into a new round of the gameplay, but after a little bit of playtime, I really appreciate it because it is forcing me to take a break in between rounds. And I'm still doing something useful. One of the things is you get buildings that, either unlock new characters or upgrade abilities, and you have to ping pong your little guys against them to actually finish building them before they will become active. So you need to be messing with the town as much as you're able to. And yeah, it's just nice that it sort of makes you take a little bit of a break, and you still feel like you're doing something very productive during that time.
I respect that kind of design decision.
But yeah, so far I've only, like I said, unlocked maybe 5 or 6 characters. I've only unlocked, I think, 3 maps, because every time I unlock a new character, I want to go back and beat all the maps with them again, because you're upgrading things based on that, in typical roguelite fashion. And it's not boring, because every single one of those characters is bringing something completely different to the game.
It sounds amazing. I'm
awesome.
gonna have to play it.
Yeah, in a year that is bonkers for good games, this one I think might be ending up on my game of the year list.
There are more. The last time I have seen this many game devs playing a game was Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I've been curious about it just because it is so rare that everybody I know is playing the same. Like, everybody I've ever worked with is playing the same thing.
I mean, it's so simple at its core, but it has so much customizability and interaction that it is just very addicting and satisfying.
So on Thursday, we got the reveal stream for the next Path of Exile League, and it's called Keepers of the Flame. And I think I talked briefly about that last week. It was in fact confirmed that it is a Breach League, but like it is a significant upgrade to the Breach mechanic, because it sounds like Breach was one of the very first League mechanics that they tried in the vein of a modern League mechanic, and all of the Breach creatures are just exiles with MTX on them that they shifted to red, and they've gone back and like tweaked it significantly and added like 3 different kinds of game modes with Breach. So like that part looks really cool, but I think what interests me the most is Path of Exile has been poking at the concept of alternate ascendancy classes for a while in various ways lately. They did it during Affliction League, where there were 3 different trees and you got to choose which one of them you wanted. They did it with the Freesia event, where there was like a whole assemblage of new classes that had kind of hit the cutting room floor previously. And now they're implementing 10 alternate ascendancy classes that are tied to bosses in the game. So you will get access to the alternate ascendancy by beating a boss and getting its alternate ascendancy points that you can use in your build. And we've only seen 3 of them, but the 3 that exist look interesting enough, and they've kind of shown some of the other bosses, like all the Crystal King, for example, will be one of the people that, if you beat all, you'll get access to that tree. It will still, like, basically it's a choice. So you're probably going to ascend normally, and then at some point when you get access to the tree, decide which points you're going to put into it, because you'll still only have 8 ascendancy points, but there's a lot of ascendancies that are like imperfect for specific builds. So like this build really wants, these two notables, but the other two notables are kind of a crapshoot as to what you want to choose. So you're just taking the best of what's remaining. And I think this is going to be interesting for a lot of those builds that didn't necessarily have obvious choices for one or more notable. They'll have access now to a whole series of new classes effectively that they could choose on. So
the notable in this case would be like the big one in
in your ascendancies,
and it's replaced with just there's a whole bunch of these now.
Yeah, I mean they're alternate ascendancies essentially that come from beating bosses, and like one of the ones that they showed was the Trial Master from Ultimatum, that if you beat, the Trial Master, you get, unlock their tree, and it's all about doing stuff with Vol skills so that you can cast them more frequently or make them more powerful. So like, say you're doing Cold Snap in a build, and you really want to lean into Vol Cold Snap, well, you could drop, one of the other ascendancy notables that you normally would have taken and go into something that gives you better uptime or something that buffs your Vol skills so that, you can really lean into using Vol Cold Snap as your primary ability. Because like one of them makes it so that, it takes way more souls to cast a Vol skill, but you can stack up a bunch of charges at once so that you don't have to wait for effectively the cooldown period after you've spent souls, so that you can essentially just keep casting Vol skills if you're killing fast enough. It's like there's definitely going to be people that do that for various builds. They also completely reworked the Assassin tree, which was the least played ascendancy for like the last umpteen different leagues. It really is leaning into poison and stacking poisons.
Okay.
I think it's also leaning into like crit. And it has some defensive layers that it didn't previously have.
I was about to say that roughly
the real reason people didn't play it.
Right.
Yeah. The question anyone who is like even thinking about playing Assassin needs to answer is, why are you playing this and not a Trickster?
Yeah, well, Trickster got a nerf. So
okay.
It didn't get nerfed into the ground, but it like one of the things that Trickster did was, gave you really good access to like I don't know if it was overleech or if it was like leech.
It was overleech for energy shield.
Yeah, overleech for energy shield, but you also got like a bunch of offensive buffs while you were leeching, and you still have overleech for energy shield, but you don't have the offensive buffs for it. So like it is still a defensive layer, but it's not as potent of an offensive layer as it once was. And there's some other things like the I forget the name of the node, but the node that was like really powerful that allowed them to, evade heavily is way less predictable.
I also wonder, did they do anything with Saboteur?
I think Saboteur was left alone.
Okay.
They buffed Hex Blast, but still not in a way that would make it playable on a mine.
No, that's fine. They don't want that build to exist. I have accepted.
Yeah, they decided we would rather not Hex Blast not be played as a mine skill, so they gave it a cooldown.
Cool. Great. That is probably fine. I am really curious because I know you linked me to a thing that's like, oh, check it out, there's a new mine build. I haven't looked into it. I'm curious what they are recommending you play it on, because currently all of the mine builds are played on not Saboteur.
Yeah, I don't remember what they put it on. I don't remember if it was Deadeye or it was a Ranger. It was a Ranger.
Yep, because like obviously, why would you have a mine build be played on the class, the ascendancy that cares the most about mines, that says the word mines more than any other?
Look, they haven't been happy about, like, Saboteur got nerfed. Not for mines. Saboteur got nerfed because of Seismic Trap. Like,
Great.
years ago now, because this has been since I started playing, but not too long after that. And they reworked Saboteur and made it unusable for traps, basically.
They need to just not call it Saboteur. Like,
no, they need to make it either do the thing it's supposed to do or pick something else.
Yeah,
they took Ranger out and gave it like our what was it? We have Warden now.
Yeah, instead of I don't remember what the class.
I don't even remember what it's called.
Raider.
Yeah.
Which was a weird Ranger melee class, essentially.
I mean, still is, but
they don't want there to be classes. They want there to be like ideas that you can put whatever layer you want, and there should be no determination or determinism in anything based on what they are telling you. That, like, the words that they say describe a class should not lead to you making any decisions about what to do with that class. That's their design.
So the other interesting thing that's happening that I'm like, I do not want to main this, but I definitely want to play with one, is so like one of the things that has existed in various forms, but has been very hard to do specifically because it was hard to craft an item for, is physical wands. So they replaced some of the existing wand types and created brand new physical wands that cannot roll spellcaster like affixes on them. So that you can
wands.
Yep, like kinetic.
Like you're
they've had
somebody with a stick.
No. You're still using wand blast attacks like kinetic blast. But these attacks have always been very bad to use with physical stuff because you can't get a wand that supports attacking very well. They all support spellcasting.
I have to start with also wands just like all of these abilities look ridiculous and they're still underpowered because you have to use a wand with them.
Yeah, so they're trying to improve wand casting in this patch specifically, and they've added a bunch of supports. They've added some new abilities. Like there's this, I don't know what it's called, but it's essentially like kinetic rain, where instead of like a bow rain attack, you're like firing off kinetic blasts that like rain down from the sky and leave these weird little things on the ground that
So
explode.
I'm going to laugh if all of these changes just end up making Corrupting Fever a more powerful build.
I probably will. Like, it probably will. But there's enough going on with kinetic wands that I kind of want to build something. Because, one, it just looks really cool. Like, they've also added some new bow skills. And one of them I really want to try and build around called Conflagrate, which is essentially explosive arrow rain. Like, instead of firing an arrow that explodes, it fires a bunch of arrows that rain down and explode and ignite. So I just don't know if you can make it hit hard enough to get a good ignite. But like, there's some interesting stuff going on in the new skills that they added. There's an entire new crafting system that at first glance looked like the Weaver's Tree from last epoch, but it's not quite. You basically like, it's basically a logic tree for crafting items. You know, you spec points into it and like, I want my next craft to be a bow. I want that bow to have elemental attacks on it. I want that, you know, so you're spending points to basically like build out this crafting tree to generate items. They're also, like, as part of this system, there are now going to be the ability to get like malformed uniques where like they've specifically excluded whatever the thing is that gives the unique its identity. But all the other lines on the unique could be totally different things. So like it's been leaked that what's the crazy health chest that can't have sockets?
Calm's Heart.
Kelm's Heart, yeah. So there's been leaked a Kelm's Heart where instead of the cannot have sockets line, it has 10% health and it has sockets. So it's just a chest with a stupid amount of health on it.
This is going to result in some really silly chase items.
Oh, yeah. Because like they don't drop; they have to be crafted through this tree, the Genesis tree. So yeah, it's going to be a weird league. I'm here for it. Also, asynchronous trade from Path of Exile 2 is coming into the game, and that will make all of that so much easier.
Interesting. I don't know that I'm terribly excited right now about it, but maybe I'll get there.
I mean, I'm a Path of Exile junkie, so like, I mean, I'm ready for the next fix. So there's enough interesting stuff going on that I'm interested, and they've also like moved some stuff around on the passive tree for Atlas. So like Beyond is now on the right side of the tree. So that's going to be a little bit interesting. They seem to have made a line in the sand decision that they want you to play a league mechanic if you want the stuff from the league mechanic. So they went through and removed like the ability to passively generate Azurite off of all of the Nico nodes, so that if you want resonators, you got to delve, which given how much I like delving will probably make it very easy for me to generate currency this league. Daggerheart Session 0.
So we talked briefly about Daggerheart when I read the book for the first time much earlier this year. And my roommate is getting ready to run a campaign. So as part of that, since we last had the podcast, we've gotten to all meet up and go through character creation and things like that. It is sort of interesting how one of my complaints about 5e, which I say a lot, is that character builds just don't exist after like level 1. Well, I guess level 3 now with new rules. Once you pick your subclass, you are done making decisions about your character. Daggerheart appears to have the opposite approach. You make so few decisions when you start your character. You choose a heritage, which is a combination of both ancestry and background. You choose a class and a subclass, and you can choose your starting domain cards. One of the big things about Daggerheart is that a lot of the things your character can do are on cards that are, you can only hold 5 of them total. You can have more in your vault, but only 5 actives. And these consist of things you can actively do and also some passive effects. Like one of them is gain evasion equal to half your agility is on a card. Basically, Magic Missile is on a card along with 2 other spells because that's sort of that domain's thing. It's got a lot of versatility. But when you make a character, you just you get of your class's 2 domains, you get access to 2 level 1 cards. So out of potential 6 cards, you can pick 2 of them. If you are sharing cards with other players, which might happen since most domains are used across 2 classes, well, all domains are used across 2 classes, you have to decide between the 2 of you who's taking what card.
Oh, interesting. So our builds are impacting each other.
Somewhat, yeah. Every time you level up, you can take another card. You also get some other options on level up, one of the options is to take an additional card. And I believe you can trade out cards on level up. So the decisions of what your character can do happen every time you level, rather than just at the start.
What is an example of like a card?
So I am playing a ranger. Ranger has access to the bone, and it's not called nature domain, but it feels like it should be. Whatever. It's called Sage. It's basically a domain of nature spells.
Okay.
The bone domain is a lot about physical attacks and has some things that emphasize movement and or agility. So one of the bone domain cards is, as I mentioned, gain evasion equal to half your agility. One of them is you can move a long distance without having to make an agility roll, along with some additional bonuses when you get there, basically a charge attack.
Got it.
Sage domain has cards like, this is an entangle spell, which deals a little bit of damage and can immobilize people. You can make an insight roll to talk to animals and plants is on a Sage card. And you can only start the game with 2 of these out of the potential 6 you might be looking at.
Now, is there like a tree of cards here where like you have cards with prerequisites?
Mostly no. Cards do have levels, which go up to 10. Character levels also go up to 10. But there aren't really prerequisites in cards. There are some later cards that say things like, if you have 4 or more cards from the Sage domain, get these bonuses. but I don't think I've seen anything that says if you have this specific card, then you get this extra thing. The other thing that was a bit of a surprise is how simple stats are. There are 6 total stats, none of which are the equivalent of con, and you get a +2 to put into something, 2 +1s to put into something, and a -1 to put into something. Much like Pathfinder, that found the idea of stats calculated that then calculate modifiers to be an unnecessary relic of the past. So we ran through character creation, got to introduce our characters to each other, which was also kind of fun. And we will have our first proper session in about a week.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm really interested in hearing how this goes because I picked up the Daggerheart set, but I haven't actually done anything with it. But it does seem neat.
Daggerheart is the Critical Role Mix system, right?
Correct.
I hear the new season of Critical Role has started, and it's apparently quite interesting.
It's got a lot of people in it.
It's got so many people. They've got a party of 13.
Horrifying.
They are definite. I think they only have 6 show up at any given time. So
they're more reasonable.
Yeah, they're constantly splitting the party and having them do various sessions based on who's where. Matt Mercer is a player. Brendan Lee Mulligan is the GM.
That's weird.
Yep.
Love it.
Please tell me some good news about Vampire the Masquerade's Bloodlines 2, because all I've been hearing is very bad news.
Well,
it's not the worst game you've ever played.
It exists.
The good news is that it is a reasonably competent video game. I don't want to just rag on this game because it's not bad enough for me to just go to town on. In some ways, it would be easier if it were. It's not an RPG, not really.
What is it?
It is a first-person, semi-open world vampire game. It has more in common with Deus Ex Invisible War, which I realize is I don't want to use that comparison because that instantly tells people, oh, it's an absolute trash fire of a game, and I don't actually think that Deus Ex Invisible War was a trash fire of a game.
Right. And I've seen people call it a blander Dishonored.
Yeah. That's the point of reference I've heard too, is semi-Dishonored.
Yeah, Dishonored is a good... If Dishonored were less about sneaking and more about if you took all of the attention to space broadly that Dishonored has, but don't make it a stealth game, you would get something kind of like this. I think there's a space for that. I don't actually, I said, it's not that it's a bad game. Two things are really harming it for me. I read enough reviews that I let go of the idea that it would feel like the original Bloodlines. It shouldn't be called Bloodlines 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that much about that. I knew going into it that we were not going to get another game like Bloodlines because Bloodlines was a cult hit for a reason. It was a mess.
Yes, it was.
It absolutely had brilliance in that mess, but it was a mess.
It was a fabulous mess, but it was a mess.
And it is not okay to make games that are that much of a mess anymore. We just don't live in that world anymore. You can make experimental games, you can try all kinds of things, but people are not patient enough to deal with the nonsense that you had to go through in Bloodlines to unearth the stuff was good about it. And that makes this a much more challenging game. So this is much more linear. But anyway, sorry. I was talking about things that are killing it for me. The combat might be cool. I don't know. But 100 minutes in, as Steam is informing me, 100 minutes in, every single combat I have done has been the same. And that is a problem, especially with as much combat as it's putting me in. Like, I have a quick melee attack, I have a heavy melee attack, and I have a dodge.
Hey,
I
it
have-
sounds like your traditional Souls.
Yeah, except it's a first person. It's a first person game.
Okay.
So I have a first person melee attack. I have a first person heavy melee attack, and I have a like quick step dash ability. I've gotten one vampire power, which is admittedly cool. It had me pick my clan. My clan changed my basic attack, but didn't tell me that it was going to do that or what it was changing it to. So I'm not actually sure how my basic attack works now, other than slightly differently. And the power that I have is legitimately really cool. I basically, like, I chose Tremere. The ability that I got as a Tremere is to basically turn somebody into a bomb, where the next time they take damage, they explode for just an immense amount of damage. And that's like even a single point of damage. So I can like do a neat thing where there's all kinds of little small objects that you can throw to make a distraction. So you can charge somebody up, throw like a bottle at them, and then they explode for taking out everybody around them. And like, it's actually cool. Like, that's a neat ability, and there's neat ways to play with it. But it's a pretty slow charge. So it's really a fight starting tool. And I need blood to use it, which you only get from feeding, which you can only do against enemies who haven't noticed you, or enemies at basically enemies that are like a couple of hits away from dead, which would be fine, except that it's there's a fairly lengthy, as in a couple of seconds, animation where you drain somebody, and you can be hit by other people in melee while this is happening. There's nothing you can do about this. But you have a limited window to feed, or they get back into the fight. So it wants to have this thing where you weaken an enemy, drain them, and use the blood to fight other enemies. And you heal from that drain, which makes up for having a relatively small health bar. But you can get killed while draining somebody because you're locked into an animation and can't move. And it really wrecks the flow of combat, to the point where it's like, I can't reliably use vampire powers, so that doesn't feel good. But
I was about to say, isn't kind of the whole idea, like, you would want to be acquiring blood not in the middle of, like, the vampire lore, I understand, is you are not trying to, like, mid-fight have a snack.
Right. And that's
Nom.
like, that is a thing that you can do, like, out in the world, is you can, find people, and it's got like interesting different like ways that you can like either find people or lure them away so that you're not seen. Their concept of stealth is interesting. It's are you upholding the masquerade, i.e., are you doing crazy vampire shit in public where everyone can see you? And as long as you're not, that's fine. But it means that you sometimes have to get creative, like, I need to feed on somebody. How can I lure them away from this crowd? How do I identify a person who, like, my particular skill set is good at luring? Like, that's actually kind of interesting. Especially because, like, movement matters too. If somebody sees you like jumping across buildings or moving at like blurring speed, it's like, whoa, that's weird, and you don't want to do that. And so there's like some good bones there, and I think that maybe with a few levels, combat might click, where it's like, okay, now I have enough abilities and I can use them frequently enough to make this work. But like, at least at the start, I've been hesitant to boot it back up, because if I play too much longer, I won't be able to refund it. And like, that's really where I'm at with it.
It's never a good place with a game.
It's not. And like, I'm like on the edge of it on this one. And I'm probably gonna not and give it some more time. Because the thing that it does have is possibly the most interesting hook for a vampire game I've ever played. Like, if you are into Vampire the Masquerade, it gives you a legitimately interesting hook that's better than any of the other Vampire the Masquerade games I've played. At least partway. Because every single Vampire the Masquerade game starts the same way. You're a regular person, you get embraced, and now you're a bottom of the totem pole vampire, figuring out what to do about it.
Yep.
This one is not that. You are like a 4th or 5th gen vampire.
Yikes.
Like, legitimately terrifying. The majority, like, there's a guy you run into earlier who's like the local tough guy and is like, I don't have time for you, get out of my face. And you can respond to him with, or he's like, get out of my face or I'm gonna do something about it. And you're like, try me. And he tries to dominate you and you just laugh it off. And he's like, oh God, oh no. And like, that's actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But also you have been in torpor for 100 years.
Right.
This is 2020's Seattle. You have no idea what's going on. Like, it's interesting. Like, it's an interesting hook. You have a voice in your head who's a vampire detective, and frankly, Cyberpunk 2077 did it better. But it's a perfectly reasonable hook. He's a decent character. The game starts with a like weird little mystery about it and resolves it immediately. Like, it's not in Cyberpunk 2077, the entire game is about you have this guy in your head. What are you doing about it? How do you resolve it? And this sets that up and then resolves it almost immediately, and you're like, oh, that's why. Oh, whoops. All right, well,
I guess there's a guy in my head to exposit to me.
yeah, like, now there's a guy in my head. Let's find the person that did this to both of us and mess them up badly. Figure out what they did and why, and do something about it. Because this was uncool. And like, that's actually an interesting hook. Like, the story is interesting, which like it gets it pretty far. I mean, I certainly didn't play Bloodlines 1 for the combat or many of its other systems. But it had a great story, and if it can hit me with a couple more like really good characters, I think it's got some legs. But like, every time it and maybe what I just do is turn the difficulty all the way down, because I just write off their combat as like not good or interesting and deal with it. But like, if you're a fan of Vampire the Masquerade and are willing to put up with some janky combat, and also, I don't know, maybe if I chose like a fight vampire and not a Tremere, the combat would feel less janky. I can't say.
Was Tremere one of the DLCs?
I have no idea. I no longer know what any of the DLCs are.
I know Toreador.
It was Toreador and La Sombra were originally going to be a DLC.
And
well, those are both easily selectable for me.
Yes, because
they walked that back and they're not DLCs anymore.
Yeah, people got rid of them. They're not. Yeah.
Okay, I did not realize that. Anyways,
Yes.
It would almost make sense that maybe they would make Toreador DLC if they wanted it to be a combat-oriented game.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of them are straight up, like, they tell you how difficult they think these are to play.
It does look like, apparently, to your point about, getting hit while trying to feed, apparently La Sombra has a passive that mortals can't attack you while you're feeding.
Yeah. And yeah, like, it feels like an intended mechanic, and it's not, like, no, guys.
Well, and it makes sense from a game logic point of view.
Sure.
But it sounds like the game that they made doesn't match up with that.
Yeah, like, if you're not gonna do, like, if you're gonna do execute, like, it's an execution move. If you're gonna do those, if you're gonna do a finisher, having somebody beat you up while you're performing a finisher when you don't have a choice is dumb.
Yeah, those are because those are self-stun locks.
Yep.
And in every other game, they acknowledge that you are pressing the button what they want you to press, and so they reward you by not punishing you when you press it.
Yeah. And also I just think that I think they are too afraid of giving you abilities too quickly, and that's a problem. Like, it's just, I think it all comes together if you get more abilities and can make things gel, but it takes, like, again, I'm like 100 minutes into it, and I'm still using the same 3 buttons in combat. Like, and 2 of those buttons are variants of the same thing. I guess you have telekinesis, and I guess that is useful in combat because you can, like, make somebody stumble towards you, and that is funny. But it's pretty niche. I also have no idea who the Banu Hakim are.
It's Clan Assamite. It's what they actually call themselves.
Oh.
They got renamed at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Basically, the in-world explanation is they never called themselves Assamites. That's always been a derogatory term used by other clans in ignorance.
So now I am really curious because, like, where the story is, because if you were a 4th generation vampire in the current world and lore of Vampire the Masquerade, that would be very interesting.
Oh yeah, no, it's actually, like, the setup is interesting.
The setup sounds fascinating.
Because right now, anyone like 5th generation or older is like Sir not appearing in the world of darkness.
Yeah, like, I don't remember exactly. I don't know exactly what generation you are, but you're, like, easily a generation or 2 below, i.e. better than some of the more powerful people that you encounter.
No, that totally makes sense because the current world of darkness is a complete and utter mess. All of the princes disappeared. Like, it's a real problem when suddenly every vampire of a certain bloodline generation or older, like, I think it made a, like, forced pilgrimage to like Middle East area, I think.
Yes, that's the implication. Yes.
Yeah, like, they don't, like, nobody knows why, and just there's a massive power vacuum in the current world of darkness. It's
basically
it's
everyone is a neophyte, aren't they? Basically,
like, I think the oldest vampire you'll encounter is like a Gen 6 vampire, which is just truly bonkers because those people are used to taking orders.
Yeah, like, what little I've gotten is that it seems like somebody might be trying to siphon power off of you.
Yeah,
and,
that
like,
makes sense.
Boy, that sure sounds like a thing you would have to deal with in another vampire game, as opposed to be like, I'm sorry, what are you doing?
Like, well, like, that's the thing is all of the, like, because all of the older vampires are gone, like, there's a lot of people doing very questionable things. Like, what you just described sounds like diablerie. And there are rules about diablerie, but now there's no one to enforce the rules on diablerism.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
because mostly the rules about diablerie were because those, stronger lower generation vampires didn't want to get eaten.
Yep.
Also, you didn't mention that not only is the vampire you have in your head a vampire detective, they're a vampire detective from Clan Malkavian.
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm sure that's
so you have Shay Goroth in your head.
It's great. I mean, honestly, like, I would say that the voice acting is a little hit or miss, but it is campy in the right ways. Like, the Malkavian detective guy is legitimately, like, over the top, but in the right way. And also, I kind of feel like if you're doing a vampire game, you need to be a little over the top anyway.
So I don't really know how to dive into the next topic because I feel like that there's a baseline of understanding that you have to arrive at for this story to make any sense. So, at a high level, in CSGO, there are skins for knives and weapons and gloves. For whatever reason, gloves and knife skins are more sought out than others. And for years, because Valve allows for the selling of items with real money, CSGO skin gambling has been the backbone of effectively unregulated casinos.
Yes, this makes sense what you just said.
Like that is the thing that basically, unregulated casinos that oftentimes children are gambling in.
Yeah, it's not great.
Okay.
So knowing all of that, skins have real world valuation. So that goofy looking knife skin could be worth $60,000.
That's not good.
This has been a thing that's been going on for a while. This week, and like I said, for whatever reason, gun skins are the trash skins of this marketplace. Glove and knife skins are what have value in this world.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense either.
Valve put in a patch that allows you to, similar to Path of Exile, 5-to-1 items. So you can take all of those trash gun skins and trade them in for a guaranteed upgrade to either a glove or a knife. And $3 billion in valuation has disappeared.
My God.
And I want to say that I was looking at like recent articles about CSGO to familiar myself with what was going on because we were going to talk about it. I hate that every single one of these articles starts by talking about CSGO's market cap.
Yes. Treating it like it's a thing you should care about. But so, okay, I don't know if you are aware of who CoffeeZilla is. Basically a YouTuber known for talking about crypto scams. Like basically busting crypto scams.
It's crypto scam / NFT garbage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So when he made his video, it was $3 billion that have evaporated. It's probably more since then. And people are freaking out because a lot of these unregulated casinos were run by organized crime.
Wow.
And Valve nuked their money. I am all about Valve destroying this weird marketplace. And good on them, I guess, but it's wild that this is a thing.
I'll watch for cars with deeply tinted windows downtown.
Exactly.
Yikes.
It's wild. And it makes sense. This seems like a positive for people who are actually playing the game and might care about those skins and acquiring them, but real bad for your fake casinos.
Yep.
Well, it's also real bad for anyone who decided to invest in this nonsense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of crypto tech bros that were deep in these skins for whatever reason. So have fun with that.
I think they forgot that while they were like, oh, this is unregulated by the government, it was not fully unregulated by, a corporation who might not share interests with them.
Well, and people have been trying to pressure Valve to do something about this because literally casino for children.
Yeah. I can understand why there might be a desire to do something about this. Oh,
I have followed this as an outsider for a long time because I don't think I've ever played a game of CSGO, so like I don't know. I've got some skins that random people have tracked me down on Steam trying to get me to trade them or sell them. Because there was apparently some rare skins that you got at the launch of Rift, and they're sought after.
I stopped playing around the time of 1.6, which is before it was CSGO.
I mean, I played CS.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they are the same game.
I don't know.
They're related, at least.
Can I still play on DE Dust?
I mean, there is a version of Dust, so
And
probably.
DE Dust 2 and CS Office. I still have all of these names lodged into my brain from middle school, almost 30 years ago.
There's a really good documentary that I've seen before about the guy who did Dust and Dust 2.
Right, because those were not official.
No, it was just he was just a teenager, still going to high school when he got hired to do maps for Valve.
I really appreciated Dust, although I was not a sniper and so avoided the sniper tunnel. But I appreciated that there was a place for people who wanted to buy an op to go and just like have shooting gallery times.
Well, the wild thing about Dust, though, is that map layout got ported to pretty much every game. Like, while I didn't play a lot of Counter-Strike, I have absolutely played Dust in Soldier of Fortune and other Quake 3 era games.
Doesn't TF2 have a very similar map?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Oh man, that map was in everything for a while.
It's funny because I only know it from CS.
It's reasonable. It was called other things elsewhere, but like I think that there was probably a year or two in there where if you were playing a multiplayer shooter, you were probably playing on that map.
Right,
See,
some version of
form.
Dust.
I find this fascinating because like for both of the Dust levels to really work, you also had to have the specific game mode, which was like one side is trying to detonate a bomb and the other side is trying to prevent them / get the bomb like prevent the bomb from going off.
It works surprisingly well with Capture the Flag.
Yeah, it's a great Capture the Flag layout too.
Oh,
you move through it completely differently in Capture the Flag. And if you were playing Capture the Flag, you could be in that map and not even realize that it's the same map because of how differently you're moving through it.
Yeah, because like that map is so Dust especially has a bunch of different interesting paths ultimately to this side room where the bomb is supposed to be detonated / disarmed. And so like everyone is trying to like either head there / like defend passageways to there.
Yeah, like it was reworked for a bunch of different team-based modes, and some of them had different spawn points, so that like there would be various spawn points on a side so that not everyone's spawning in at the same place.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because a lot of the games that I played that were effectively the Dust map were games that weren't one life, one match. They were like respawning.
That's also very interesting because like that does like for me that was the CS thing is it's one for each match you only have one life. I actually think DE Dust 2 is a more interesting map actually, and requires you to be like covering more areas of egress and possibly able to find ways to slip in.
Yeah, I think most of the time, the thing is like if you were a PC gamer back then and an adult PC gamer, like Counter-Strike was kind of primitive at that point. So you wanted to play the newer, shinier games that would test your rig, but also you were still playing Counter-Strike maps ported to it.
This is very funny because for me, the more important thing to like the specs for Counter-Strike were like almost didn't matter because I could run Counter-Strike, but nobody had the bandwidth to run Counter-Strike.
Because I could not play on a fast enough internet connection. The very, very first like home game dev mod thing I ever did was scripting Counter-Strike bots.
Yeah. I was originally playing that game on a 56.6K modem. And then my parents upgraded to T1 cable, and my kill death ratio inverted. I was like at a 1-to-2 kill death ratio, and I went to a 2-to-1, which is a big deal in that game.
I was on DSL. Anyway, it's just wild to watch this story evolve. I highly suggest you pay attention to it as it does, because it's probably just going to get wilder.
So I'm trying to understand this. Like, how would these casinos operate? Was there like a chip? Like, could you buy in for digital chip tokens and then cash out those digital chip tokens for skins?
It was cash based.
Or crypto, if you feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, and there were, what also, involves this is there are third-party sites that will sell you the skins for these astronomical prices.
Or were these, I guess that's the other, like, were they just literally gambling these skins against each other for some reason?
I mean, it's mostly cash money to gamble on a skin box.
Yes.
Okay.
At a third-party site.
Oh, okay. These are literal just like gotcha loot boxes.
Yes.
Like, put money into this system, get skins out, and those skins can be resold for money, which you can then sell, get your money back, and then continue gambling on more skin boxes. This is literally a Skinner box.
Yeah, and basically like large streamers were doing this thing.
Oh, I remember this. I was super confused by this.
Yeah,
now
like this is what made XQCD as popular as he has been, is because he spent most of his time doing this CSGO gambling stuff.
Yeah. Remember when we thought the internet was a fun, happy place?
Yeah.
People just keep finding new and interesting ways to ruin it.
Anyways, I hope this burns, and I really look forward to continuing to monitor any streamer that my children express interest in with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Yup. Entropy Effect featuring BlazBlue.
Entropy Effect?
Yeah.
BlazBlue Entropy Effect is a game that exists. It was developed by a studio that is not Arc System Works to make a game that is not BlazBlue, but BlazBlue is the first word in the title. So, whatever. What they made is a platformer action roguelike that happens to feature BlazBlue characters, the primary playable characters.
Okay.
That are rather lovingly brought over from the fighting game. Like, a lot of things you can do in the fighting game are here. A lot of extra things you can do that aren't in the fighting game are here, but, are in theme for the various characters. And this came back across my feed recently. I bought it forever ago while it was still in early access. But it became worth playing, I'd say, about last year when it hit 1.0. And it crossed my feed again because one of my friends started playing it because it has multiplayer. And also, they recently did a collab with Dead Cells. So the prisoner from Dead Cells is now a playable character as well. One of 2 crossover characters in this game now. Feels weird. Every character in this game is a crossover character, technically, but whatever.
The other crossover is with Prince of Persia?
Not in this game, as far as I know.
Okay.
This game's list is wild.
It's a bunch of BlazBlue characters, Icy from Icy and the prisoner from Dead Cells. It is it has the most interesting system of meta progression I have ever seen, in that your character from a previous run can be part of your meta progression for future runs. You get to pick eventually 2 legacy characters that can sort of come along with you. And really, they're just an assist in the fighting game sense, but they can also just grant you passive abilities for just being there. And some of them are really strong. I happen to like Jin's passive ability to just freeze things sometimes.
Does your build decisions, like as you are going through a run, impact like when they come back as your like legacy assistant?
It affects your build decisions affect what you can bring to your legacy, as it were. Like you can only include things you actually had.
Got it. And so there are different ways those impact your legacy.
Yeah, for instance, with Jin right now, I can do basically 4 things. No matter how I did, I can bring Jin in to summon some icicles.
Okay.
And no matter how bad I did, I get Jin's free slow down time on perfect dodge passive.
Okay.
Which is very good. Because I picked it, I also get Jin's summon random icicles around you just during the stage. And also bring in a lightning bolt on dash.
Okay.
Which I got during the run.
So it sounds like over time you just keep getting more and more options.
I think you can only bring 2 characters at once, but because I have an extra help this time, I can probably get farther and make a better legacy character this time. So success builds upon itself.
I was about to say, does this game play kind of like a Hades then?
Yes.
That's actually another question. Like, how's the story handled? Is it like
the story has
Hades?
Nothing at all whatsoever to do with BlazBlue.
Okay, great.
You are a robot doing mind training. And this weird facility that you're in appears to be the subject of the story.
Okay.
I've only met like 2 other characters at this point, because when you start, the other character you can see is asleep and the computer is giving you instructions. So that's all you got. So I don't know too much about the story yet.
Got it.
I wouldn't expect Hades. The draw here is definitely the gameplay.
What you're describing is not like Hades is very interesting because of just how much story they cram in between and during every single run.
Yeah, there is 0 story during a run.
Yeah, it sounds like what they're about, which is cool. Like the story,
which is fine. Yeah. No, sometimes you just want to like there is a small amount of me that has a problem with Hades of there is too much story getting in the way of me getting to a flow state of just grinding out runs.
Yeah, but then you can beat the game and eventually you get the end of that.
Oh, no. Sure.
Yeah, okay, fine, sure.
Eventually
you get into mostly the end of that.
Yeah, eventually you beat the game and then you do so much more content so while you're still getting more new story constantly. Like by the time you are done with story in Hades, you have played probably too much Hades for my tastes. Which is fine. I'm glad that they continue to tell me a story. It just means I don't get to that flow state I do with some roguelikes.
Yeah, this one is all about the combat, getting fancy fighting game things. And
are you doing fancy fighting game inputs?
Mostly no.
Okay.
Well, actually entirely no. There's like no Hadouken inputs or anything like that. To do a special move, you just press a different button.
Are there is there a lot of buildcraft rewards as you go through the various levels?
Yeah, there are basically 2 types of buildcraft things. Tactics, which are not unlike boons in Hades. They apply to your attacks and so on and so forth. But the real meat is in potentials, which affect your character's normal moves. Might give you access to additional combos or change what one of your moves does or give you something else entirely. Like for Jin, you start out with the ability to use basically his Ice Wave super, and you can pick up a potential that gives him access to his Parry super or various other special moves that he happens to have. And there are a lot of potentials, like a lot of potentials, and you don't have access to all of them. Like you will not see all of them during a run.
And is Jin the character you start with and then you unlock more?
You can start, actually, I kind of just like this part. You get access to the entire character list almost at the start, and you get to pick one of them, and then you can slowly access the others. You get a video that sort of hints at what this is going to be, and a description of how they're going to play, but there's some nuance there that you just aren't going to see.
I was about to say, this does feel like it's possible to pick wrong.
But even if you pick completely wrong, you get access to a second one as soon as you finish your first run. And I'm trying to see, I'm unclear how quickly you're going to get access to more, but it doesn't feel like it's going to take that long.
by finish your first run, does that mean beat your first run or
Die
Okay.
once.
Got it.
Because you do not have a legacy your first run, among several other things, the odds are stacked against you. I did make it to the final boss on my first run in this game,
Wow.
but I did not beat the final boss. It helps that I picked a character I was familiar with from the fighting game, but like no game knowledge is required to play this in any way.
So a couple weeks ago, I talked about Microsoft and its further descent into madness with the Xbox system. And since then, Costco has stopped selling Xboxes, Sam's Club has stopped selling Xboxes, and some Walmarts and Targets have reorganized their electronic system section to no longer have a Xbox area. However, it feels like a more important line was crossed yesterday when they announced that Halo is coming to PlayStation 5.
A console which also costs more than it did at launch.
It is, yeah. It's rather expensive now.
I guess I have not been paying attention. Is the price going up purely because of inflation and other external pressures, or is there
External pressures is a good term.
So there's a rumor. Well, it's basically a leak that Jason Schreier put out there that Microsoft is demanding that Xbox turn a 30% profit off of everything Xbox related, which is apparently why all the price increases.
Got it.
It seems like Microsoft is trying to kill the Xbox division.
Well, this does make sense because of what Microsoft's current priorities are.
Yep.
That seems bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, pretty much, I don't think Xbox is going to exist for another generation. They're claiming they're working on a new console, but it's being described that it's going to be a very expensive boutique item.
Okay.
So,
For who?
Who is buying it in that case?
I have no idea. I feel bad for the folks that are still only on Xbox.
Yes.
Of all of this, those are the people that I feel bad about, is the folks who have been diehard fans of the Xbox brand, only own an Xbox, don't have any other way to get access to games, and now that entire ecosystem is just imploding. Also, dev kits went up in price this week from, what was it, $1,500 to $2,000 per dev kit.
Like, why?
This is how you kill an ecosystem.
Like, all of this stuff, like, taken together sounds like they just actively don't want to deal with Xbox anymore.
Right, they're trying to speed run the demise of this brand.
Yeah.
Like, Halo was the kind of the last holdout that only existed on Xbox. And, well, Xbox and Windows, but, you know, in the words of Microsoft, everything is an Xbox. So, I don't know. It's just, also, they launched their ungodly expensive Windows device with Asus that's like, what, 2,000, I think? Something like that? For the highest end
the
version?
ROG Ally?
Yeah. And it's like, who is this device even for?
Wait, the ROG Ally is $2,000?
I don't know if it's $2,000. It's expensive.
I thought it was 1,000. It's $1,000.
It's, yeah.
Okay, that's slightly less appalling.
It's still, why don't you buy a Steam Deck money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is priced against a Steam Deck, basically.
Like, I can't help but wonder if Microsoft is just like, you know, if we stop making Xboxes, if we kill off Xbox, then those people will all buy Windows 11 instead. And I don't know if that's how it will work out for them.
What?
I don't think anyone's. They're not trying. They do not care about Windows 11.
And Microsoft as a whole cares very much because they keep removing things people use to get around Windows 11.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Microsoft very much wants you to buy Windows 11, and nobody wants to.
Nobody wants to buy Windows 11.
Yeah, I'm not like thrilled that I have Windows 11.
Yeah,
No,
I hate everything about it.
I have it on my work laptop, and I loathe it. I pushed the button in time to continue getting security updates for Windows 10 for another year. So, kick that can down the road on my home PC. And then I don't know what I'll do.
I upgraded.
There are other ways to get updates for Windows 10 longer than 1 year because they're offering them to businesses.
I might end up paying for them. I mean, that's if that's what it comes to.
There are other additional options.
I might raise the flag and sail the seas.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea what they're doing. I don't deeply care about the Xbox environment, but it's sad. Like, it's sad to see all of this happening.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had an Xbox for I don't know how many generations now, and basically because there stopped being any Xbox exclusives that I cared about. But still, I would prefer that it continued to exist as an option. I don't know.
I mean, I have an Xbox Series X because it was real cheap when I got it, and it's mostly just a doorstop at the moment. I don't even have it hooked up to anything.
I did get a Series, well, not a Series X. I got an Xbox One digital edition, basically, for Phantasy Star 2. But as soon as that came out on PC, I sold that back.
I have not gotten an Xbox in a couple generations at this point. I
had a 360.
I had a 360. I had an Xbox One.
The one is the last one that I had. And yeah.
I never
Sorry,
had
not Xbox One. I had an Xbox no modifier because Xbox One is different. I had the first Xbox. I modded it and put Linux
Xbox
on it.
Original recipe.
Yes. I used MechWarrior to put Linux on it.
So, boy, those names are bad.
Yeah, they're so bad at naming.
They're so bad at naming.
Two hard problems.
But like I'm going to be sad because I have a lot of very fond memories. Like Xbox is where I started playing. Like Halo was on Xbox, and Halo was just a wonderful multiplayer experience for me.
So here's the problem with Xbox as an ecosystem, and I kind of went into this rant on Slack the other day, but so the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 generation, that was the generation that people actually started to build digital libraries, other than us weirdos who've been on Steam forever.
Right.
And they lost that generation so spectacularly by making the entire generation launch about television. And
among other
people, television, and like the price of the PlayStation 4 was cheaper. It had better launch titles. So people transitioned over to Sony at that point if you're a diehard console player, other than, everyone has a Switch. I mean, it's the also ran system that everyone also has.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's the also ran. It's the winner. Everyone has it. But in a different category.
It's a third category because we have consoles, PC, and Switch. But the thing is they lost the most important generation, the generation where people were building ongoing digital libraries. And folks are bought into Sony at this point. They're going to continue to buy whatever the new Sony console is because they can play their older content on it. And so long as they maintain that, they will keep people. And I don't think there's any way that Microsoft can back out of that particular hole.
Surely no one cares about their digital library.
It's real important, yo.
I will say
go ahead.
The reason I got an Xbox One was because of my fairly large library of Rock Band songs that were on the Xbox.
Yeah.
The for me, what I will always thank Xbox for is they were one of the first, like, I remember when they started they put indie games on the Xbox, like, there was an indie section of their store, and that's where I got introduced to Bastion.
Yeah.
Like that, I thought that was an Xbox exclusive at the time.
Yeah, that was the first time I played Castle Crashers was on Xbox Live Arcade.
They had that Xbox Live Arcade launched a bunch of really cool indie devs.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
That's also where I played Braid for the first time, I think.
Braid was the Xbox Live exclusive when it came out.
It was.
Bastion wasn't, because I played it on PC.
Tell you what, Steam will love you. Steam will sell you a very reasonable handheld console that you can dock to a TV. You can play games on it. It'll be fine.
Oh, man, that was one of the checkpoints from this week. Is apparently there's like a 20% attach rate for the like PlayStation version of a Steam Deck that requires you to have a PS5.
I was surprised at that.
That number blows my mind.
I'll be honest, like I used my Vita to remote play my PlayStation 4 probably more than I actually used it as a Vita.
I mean, maybe you're the target audience for this, and that's why it's got.
Are we 20% attach rate is good or 20% attach rate is bad?
20% of people who own a PS5 own this device. It's pretty good.
That seems pretty good.
That sure is a surprising number.
Isn't it?
I have it on reasonably good authority that the number of people who own a USB keyboard for their PlayStation is at or above that number. However,
I also believe that.
Yeah, but also I figure a USB keyboard is a lot cheaper than this device.
Sure, also true.
Makes me wonder, like, how many people surf the web on their PlayStation 5?
I hope that number is small for my own sanity's sake.
I have to say, like, that's a fun question of, am I the weirdo for having a tower with a computer in it that sits under my desk and I attach monitors and a keyboard to?
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yes. That we are,
no.
We are the weirdos.
It's not the youth's fault.
Any of these other topics super short because we've run over? We're probably bumping them. Any final thoughts about anything?
Yeah, I will go more in depth into Dispatch next week, but for now, it's real good.
Okay, awesome.
If you liked late era Telltale games, yes, that is what this is.
Yeah. Extremely lightning fast first impressions on Outer Worlds 2. It is way better than the original.
Neat.
I liked the original. I just like
Me too.
I didn't quite get through it. But
I got
enjoyed what
good
I
news
played.
for you.
All right, I'll
Like-
have to check it out.
I will talk more about it next week, but like I just want to say that it's good. Like the original had a Metacritic of like 68 or something.
Oh, that does not seem correct.
This one has a Metacritic score of 82 last I checked. Anyway, it's good.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good
night.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.